Hey y'all, welcome to the Old Latrell Show podcast. I'm your host, Latrell, and I'm super excited to share with you everything that I have learned about the blood type diet and how to live purposefully and holistically in this year of 2024 and moving onward. So keep watching and keep listening as I share with you the successes I've achieved in my health journey and how you can start taking actionable steps towards a healthier you. So in this episode, we are going to discuss my first full year on the blood type diet. It's definitely been a journey. It's definitely been a learning experience. I've learned so much about myself, so much about food, new foods, and I'm just happy to have made it to this point. So starting from the beginning, I found out about the blood type diet a year ago in the summer of 2023, and it was just so happenstance. I was already looking for something to heal me because I was suffering internally with my digestion more specifically, and it was causing other problems in my body. So I I'm a teacher, by the way, and on my break I went to a juice shop, a vegan juice shop, and got me a juice because I thought that veganism was the way to go for my health, and got me a vegan juice, and I saw that they were selling some books on the shelf, and I picked up this book, Eat Right for Your Type, right? And I was like so drawn to it. It like pulled me to it. I got it off the shelf. I sat down and I started reading it as I drank my smoothie. And it brought up some things that were like, this is it. And one thing that pulled me in was the fact that it talked about candida. And I was like, oh my gosh, something is actually talking about candida in a serious way. And it's telling me that type O's are very susceptible to candida overgrowth. And what is causing the candida overgrowth? Gluten. Gluten found in wheat. And so I'm like, I gotta be type O. Like, I don't even gotta read the rest of this intro or whatever. I don't even gotta read no more. I'm type O. So I then took a step back and I'm like, okay, let me read some more before I get the blood type test that they had right there that they were selling. I don't know what made me second guess, but I wanted to dive deeper. I did not buy the book. I got the book from the library and I read more. And then I'm like, I got to get the blood type test to find out what my blood type is. I was probably trying to figure out if I could find out what my blood type was in some medical records I had already, but I didn't. So I went back, got the blood type test, took the test, and broke it the first time. I had to get another one. And then I found out that I was type O, and I was like, this is it. I'm about to achieve the health that I've been wanting to achieve all these years, like 10 plus years of me searching for the perfect diet, the perfect remedy for what I was dealing with. So to be more specific, I was dealing with probably irritable bowel disease, some like maybe an early sign because I went to colonoscopy and went to doctors and they didn't say that I actually had anything specific like Crohn's, colitis, celiac, or anything like that. But I was having gas all the time, bloating, farting. I was having issues with diarrhea and constipation, like back and forth, and not all the time, but it would happen sometimes sporadically, like out of nowhere. And I knew for a fact that I could not eat coffee. Oh my gosh. Coffee would send me straight to the bathroom. And I could not eat dairy. Dairy was like definitely giving me problems. I also knew that I could not eat gluten. I could not eat anything made out of wheat. Gluten is the protein that's in wheat. And I was in the mindset of singling things out, which is the elimination diet. And once I was able to single out that this bowl of macaroni and cheese is what gave me these problems, I was able to see that, or because macaroni and cheese is dairy and gluten, wheat. So let's see, some type of pasta, like just bread or anything that has wheat in it. I was able to single it out and decide, okay, this is giving me a problem. And once I stopped eating it, I was getting relief. And so I'm like, all right, I can't eat dairy. I can't eat pork. That's another thing that was giving me some problems. I can't eat drink coffee, or eat anything with coffee in it. And I also cannot eat wheat. But I'm still having some problems, like I'm still gassy. I'm still itchy. I'm still getting rashes. And so I needed to know what else, because I was getting to a point where I didn't know what to eat. I knew I couldn't eat those things, but I didn't know what else I couldn't eat. So I was just like nervous. I knew for a while I was just eating the rotisserie chicken you get from the store that's already cooked and a bag of salad. And I would just cut some chicken off and then put it in the salad and eat that. And that was what I was eating for a long time because it was easy and I knew that I wasn't going to feel sick from it. So once I got this book, Eat Right for Your Type, about blood type, and it had a list of foods that type O's should and should not eat, I was like, this is it right here. Because he done got down to my cells. He got down to the cellular level. Who is he? He is Dr. Peter D'Adamo. And him and his father researched blood type and how it affects people's diet, people's personality, people's exercise routines, how they react and respond to it chemically. And that you say no more. That's all I need. I love me some research. Tell me why. Tell me what this food is doing to me. Why shouldn't I eat this and why should I eat this? I was sold. So went on ahead, bought the book, started changing my diet and transitioning. That was a whole other situation. Okay, so in my transition, I needed to start eating more like a person who is blood type O, which is what I am. And a person who's blood type O, the diet consists of mostly meat. Like meat is medicine for blood type O's, and along with other things, but we should be mostly eating meat if you're a blood type O. So obviously there are exclusions, but we should be eating beef, lamb, like a lot of other beef products like beef tongue, sweetbreads, which is pancreas, beef heart, veal, venison, which is deer, and things like that. Yes. So this is all new to me. Okay. Also, seafood. Some seafoods I'd never heard of and also didn't eat really on a regular basis. Actually, I'm gonna talk about this in another video, but seafood was specifically meant for like special occasions growing up. So I carried that into my adult life and I just didn't eat seafood like that. So that encouraged me, eating along this diet encouraged me to eat more seafood. So stuff like red snapper, oh my gosh. Red snapper is so good. Swordfish. What else? Cod. Cod is pretty common. I think even Wendy's or McDonald's has like the filet of fish at McDonald's is cod, fried cod. I don't eat McDonald's, but I just remember that. No dairy, which I knew and I felt that in my body, but this confirmed it that blood type O should not eat dairy. butter is okay, and I was eating butter, but there's also a way to overdo butter too. So I eat ghee. Ghee is clarified butter without the lactose in it, okay? And when I think about it, because chicken is on the list, but it's not highly beneficial. So I will talk about the book in another video because this is so much. But it breaks, that's the abdominal breaks the food down into highly beneficial, neutral, and avoid. Okay, so some foods are in highly beneficial, and some there are like a bigger amount of foods in neutral. So chicken is in the neutral section of the meats, and like I said before, I was eating rotisserie chicken and salad, and I was basically eating my blood type without knowing it. I didn't even know what I was doing, but I was listening to my body. And my body said, this is good for you. Eat this way. When you eat it, you don't feel any reactions. You don't feel any discomfort. So I just was like, this is my go-to. Check me out. I was so happy. Okay, so I'm transitioning, and I'm also learning that potatoes is not good. Like, typos should avoid potatoes and lentils and corn. Oh my gosh. I would eat a big old bag of skinny popcorn every single day. I thought that was a safe snack for me. But then I started to experience some digestive pain. Like before I was having gas and stuff like that, but I was having actual pain in the middle of the night. My stomach, like my abdomen would be like, I would feel sharp pains down there, and I'd be like holding my stomach at night, like in the fetal position, while this pain passed for like probably a minute. And that happened every time I ate popcorn. So I kind of weaned myself off of that before I started the blood type diet. And then I get in the blood type diet book and it says no corn, including popcorn. So I'm like, all right, fine. I mean, I already kind of knew that. All right. So other things I will mention in another video of things that I can't eat. Also, I have a few other videos in my blog where I have a list of things that blood type O's, A's, ABs, and B's should and should not eat. You can also get the book, Eat Right for Your Type, and I will have links provided for you to go ahead and access the book. So I get rid of the food that I cannot eat. And I realized that I had a bunch of potato stuff, like tater tots, love tater tots. I had French fries, hash browns. I was like, potatoes must be good for me. It's vegetables, right? Vegetables are good. Not for typos. Had to get rid of it. And then I started cooking more and buying more and cooking more things that I am supposed to eat as a typo. So starting off, I was making steaks. And my first time making a steak, it was a lamb steak. Because there was this farm I like to go to get my kefir from. I was drinking kefir at one point in time. Kefir is made out of milk. It's fermented milk. And then I learned that typos not supposed to have dairy. And kefir is included because the base is dairy. But I went there to get some meat. And they had lamb steaks. I put it on the top of the skillet and just let it cook. And I ate it. And it was just like so tough. My gums were hurting. My teeth were hurting. I'm like, and I didn't understand how to cook it. So I like asked my Instagram friends, asked my Instagram followers, how they cook it. So they told me pan sear it and then put it in the oven to cook the rest of the way. I don't like a whole bunch of steps. So I just put it in the oven with some parsnips and some turnips, cut them up because they're beneficial for blood type O's. and it came out good. And that's just how I started cooking my steaks moving forward. So I began to eat more meat. That was like a new food for me. Um, Eating more steak, more ground beef, because I was being told that that stuff is bad. Meat is bad. Like that was the rhetoric. That was the message. And for me to be for me to be told that meat is actually good for me was a whole new world that opened up. So once I cooked more, I realized that I actually needed to cook more, like spend more time cooking. And I wasn't trying to be going out buying a bunch of takeout food to try this food, even though I did, to help me determine how a steak is supposed to taste or what types of steak I like. Because there are a bunch of different types of steak. Okay. My favorite, I had to come to learn, is the ribeye steak. But there's New York strip, there's sirloin, there's something that starts with an R. I forget, I don't really get it that much. But ribeye is my favorite. So once I realized that I wasn't preparing enough in advance, I set up a system for myself. Okay, so I made a spreadsheet of all the foods that I want to eat during a week. I looked at some recipes. I used Dr. Diadamo's website that has people's submissions of recipes, and it's real cool. I'll share that with you on another video as well. So Friday after work, I picked that day to go food shopping, and then I started to cook on Saturday night and finish my cooking on Sunday. So I would cook big batches of steak, collard greens, black eyed peas, which is all beneficial food. Kale greens also beneficial. What else was I cooking? Sometimes I would cook a ground beef and shrimp mix, super good, and I had seasoned it with curry. Oh my gosh, that was my favorite meal. And I started adding more. Like I was experimenting. It was super fun. Cooking is fun, by the way. If you got time, and make the time, cooking can be really fun. So that was really important. Meal prepping is important for this diet. I had to realize that I need to take my health into my own hands and take my diet into my own hands. Diet is just what you eat. The real natural definition of diet is what you eat on a regular basis. And so my diet became blood type O diet, meat-based, gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free. That's another thing I was realizing that I shouldn't eat. I should eat less of that, and I'm going to talk more about that in another video as well. So as I'm cooking in big batches, this is going to last me for a whole week, and then come Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm doing the same thing again. And honestly, I fell off recently because my mom passed away, and I started eating out a lot, and I'm trying to get back into the groove of cooking for myself. I also moved, so I'm not even in my the habitat that I'm used to. I'm getting used to living with someone else, living with a family member, and we're trying to make it work around each other. So it's a learning experience. I'm going through a lot. Okay, so I'm eating the blood type diet. I'm going. I made a 3-month update. I don't know if I made a video on it, but I wrote a blog on it. I wrote an article on it on my blog, so you can check that out and read in more detail. But after 3 months, I was still experiencing gas. Okay, so I do know, though, that Dr. Diadamo said that when typos start to change their diet and incorporate more meat, since typos have stronger, more active stomach acid, it can cause gas. So that was one thing that I was that made me feel better. And he recommended taking this supplement called Typezyme. And there's a Typezyme for each blood type. I took Typezyme O. And once I started taking it with a meat meal, I realized that the gas didn't happen. And then after a while, I didn't need to take the Typezyme at all. However, other things were still giving me gas, and I didn't know what it was. And as I read more into the book, I learned that type O's can be carbohydrate intolerant, which means that type O's can't be eating a whole bunch of carbohydrates because type O's are naturally meant for the keto diet. Like type O's are naturally in a mild state of ketosis, which means high protein, low carbohydrate, high fat. Okay. So I'm like, okay, so let me start taking out the foods that are carbohydrates. And I was eating sweet potatoes, parsnips, turnips. What else was I eating? That's probably the most of the carbohydrates I was eating that I needed to eliminate. So probably carrots too. Vegetables, anything that's not meat and a fat is a carbohydrate. So I started like just eating straight meat and a green. So I had steak and kale. I had steak and collard greens. I also eliminated the black eyed peas because those are beans and they're carbohydrates. So once I started eating like that for a while, I basically made the blood type O diet the keto version of the blood type diet, and the gas like subsided greatly. I did another thing that helped me with gas also. I also stopped eating fruit. That was something that I was excited to eat because I hadn't been eating fruit. I'm like, I was thinking I shouldn't eat sugar because that was feeding the candida. So I stopped eating sugar and anything that has sugar in it. And when Dr. Didamo said you can eat mangoes, you can eat cherries, blueberries, I started eating that on like a lot. But I went too hard on that. So took that out of the diet for a period of time and realized that I needed to address the candida first before I start eating a whole bunch of sugar. And so I went on a search to figure out how I can get rid of the excess candida in my body. So eventually, this happened more recently. Like I was eating the meat and the veggies. Sorry. I was eating the meat and the greens for like mad months. So many months I was eating that way, and that was it. And gas was at an all-time low. Then like I said, I wanted to get rid of the candida, so I bought this book here, which I didn't know what was in it, but I wanted to see if there was going to be another level of support for dealing with candida. This book is Eat Right for Your Type, Complete Blood Type Encyclopedia, the A to Z reference guide for the blood type connection to symptoms, diseases, conditions, vitamin supplements, herbs, and food. Oh my goodness. Dr. Diadamo saved my life. So in this book is over 500 diseases addressed, and Dr. Diadamo has a protocol for each one of them, and the protocols are broken up by blood type, and they mostly consist of herbs to address issues that specific blood types experience that lead to these diseases. And so there's a protocol for yeast overgrowth, and that's what I started taking. What I learned is that stinging nettle root agglutinates candida. What does agglutinate mean? Agglutinate means that it basically kills it. Once I started taking stinging nettle, that really helped a lot. I didn't start eating fruit. I think I did start eating mango a lot. Like I had a little stint of eating a whole bunch of mango because I was happy. But it was having a reverse effect. It wasn't. It was causing me to experience candida overgrowth again because I was having a bunch of gas and a bunch of stomach issues again. So stopped the mango, and then I started the intestinal protocol, and that is probably what has allowed me to start eating fruit again and sugar and more starch. Because one of the ingredients for this protocol is L-glutamine and this N-acetylglutamine. L-glutamine, these glutamines help to seal the gut lining. Okay, that's important. If you have leaky gut, you're going to experience a bunch of gas. If you seal the gut lining, you don't have leaky gut anymore. And so I experimented with eating some fruit and some starches and seeing how my body reacted. So over this summer, like literally a couple weeks ago, like these past 3 weeks, I was in a summer program and we administered lunch to them, and the lunch included a piece of fruit. Sometimes, most of the time, the kids wouldn't want the fruit. They would just put it in the share box for other people to get if they wanted it. I was one of the people who wanted it. So I'm like, let me try a piece of fruit and see how I react to it. And I was fine. I was so happy. I was fine. So I'm not overdoing it. Like I have to have some restraint. It is what it is, because too much carbohydrates, too much sugar, carbohydrate breaks down to sugar, is going to lead to candida overgrowth, stomach issues, and I'm just going to be back to where I started. Don't want to be there again. So another thing I had to do was to get more particular about the ingredients in the foods that I was eating. So that means that the foods that I'm not preparing, the foods that are coming packaged, the foods that I'm getting while I'm eating out, I had to be sure about what was in it. And in the beginning, I wasn't sure. If it said gluten-free, then I'm getting it. You know what I'm saying? And once I started to prepare my own food and cook more, I became worried about eating out and eating prepared foods. And so I needed to start eliminating some things. For instance, I was eating crackers made with coconut oil. Coconut oil and coconut anything, I think everything except coconut water, is an avoid food for type O's. Another thing is I was eating prepared liver, chicken liver with eggs. It says in the Eat Right for Your Type book that people of African descent should not eat eggs. And I noticed that when I eat eggs, I get really mucusy. So I had to stop eating the prepared chicken liver. Also, I was getting these baked sweet potato tots. They were made into dinosaurs. They sell them at Aldi. And I just thought they were so cute and tasty. And I ate them as dessert. Well, I looked at the ingredients and said that they have potato starch as one of the ingredients. So I couldn't eat them anymore. But it gave me motivation to make my own. And I still haven't done that yet, but I'm getting close. So these things continue to make me gassy. Like I would eat the sweet potato tots or sweet potato dinosaurs and as a dessert, and I would experience gas. And so I'm like, all right, I can't eat these anymore. Had to throw them away, stop buying them. I had to get really serious about the things I put into my mouth because I'm sensitive. I have an immediate reaction to the food that I eat. So to help me, because it's almost impossible to eliminate everything that I'm not supposed to eat, especially if I'm like socializing and eating out at restaurants and stuff, which I got more particular about what I order and how I ask for what I order. Because, when things come prepared, like a salad, it be having a whole bunch of stuff on there I can't eat. So I got more particular that way as well. But I also incorporated in my regimen the Deflect O supplement. And this is a supplement that Dr. Diadamo created and recommends when we want to eat something that's on the avoid list, which I do not recommend. Like, don't get in the habit of eating a piece of cake made out of wheat and just popping some Deflect. Like, don't do that. You have to get more serious than that, because Deflect don't heal you. It just kind of deflects the lectins, which I'll talk more about in another video, from attaching to your gut and your mucus and wreaking havoc in your body. Okay, so last thing I want to talk about is my health. And I didn't go to the doctor before I started the blood type diet. Didn't go this whole year. I didn't go to the doctor. I actually hadn't gone to the doctor for a while before I started the blood type either, like probably more than 2 years, because I was really fed up with the response I was getting with the issues I was dealing with. Nobody was able to help me. Nobody. I was dealing with yeast infections because of the yeast candida overgrowth, and I was getting antifungals, but I would always get it again. The yeast infection would come back. And so the doctor, the gynecologist, wasn't able to tell me, stop eating this. You're allergic to this gluten, which is causing you to have yeast infections all the time. And so that's what I looked up. That's what I researched, and I healed myself. And so for me to go to a doctor and ask them questions about my health, them not able to tell me, and then I look online and find testimonies of people who are able to heal themselves, and I follow the steps that they took, and then I find this book, who is a doctor, an anomaly, a person who is doing radical health care, and I find him through a book. I'm not going to a doctor. That's how I was feeling for a long time. So recently, though, I had to get a TB shot for this summer program I was working with. I was teaching math in the summer program, and they were like, "Oh, we need your TB shot results." So I'm like, I gotta go to a doctor. And so I went, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just get the full physical gynecologist update and everything. I'm straight. Like, my blood work came back good. Everything was in the range that I need to be in. The only thing is that my red blood cells are like one measure outside of the normal measure as far as how big they are. They're like one measure too big. I don't know what that means, but that's one thing that stood out. Other than that, I'm telling the primary care doctor about the things that I can't eat. I ain't even mentioned blood type diet, but I'm like, I started eating keto because everything else is bothering my stomach. And she like, I deal with the same thing. And I'm like, ain't that something? So maybe when I go back for a follow-up next week, I can mention the blood type diet, because really I'm trying to help all the people who need to be helped and all the people who want the help to benefit. I don't care if they're a doctor, because doctors don't know everything. They don't. Okay? My lymph nodes, kidneys, liver, all are fine based on my blood work. I am going to go back to talk to the doctor, and see if she has any commentary. Periods. Menstrual cycle. My menstrual cycle has been way more bearable these days. The flow is lighter. It's shortening as far as the length of it. Usually my period is 6 days, and it's shortening, like getting closer to 5 days. Also, it's getting closer to the full moon. Okay? that's the ideal time for women to get their period. I heard a podcast saying that there was a time period when women would get their period on the full moon. And once I started working on my health, getting the candida down, I had been working on this candida overgrowth before I started the blood type diet. It was a supplement I was taking called candida cell wall suppressor. And once I did about 3 rounds of that, I was getting my period on the full moon. And it's wavered since then, but it's getting back. It's around the full moon. Usually it's a couple, like maybe a day or two after the full moon. Sometimes it's a couple days after the full moon, but it's definitely close to the full moon. I'll talk more about that. I also need to research more about that because there's obviously a spiritual reason behind why women get their period close to the full moon. So, and I'm going to talk more about spiritual things too and how that relates to blood type as well. Some of the protocols that I used based on the Eat Right for Your Type Complete Blood Type Encyclopedia are the yeast fungus protocol, the intestinal health protocol, the skin health protocol, and the female reproductive protocols. So I have done, if not the full length of them, I've done definitely a good amount of weeks. Some of them are like 4 weeks. Some of them are 6 weeks. And I've spent considerable time in each one of them taking the supplements. Now I got a cabinet full of supplements. So that's about it. Oh my gosh, I thought I would never get to the end of this video. But that's my first year on the blood type O diet. And obviously, as you see, it's been a journey. I'm a new person, a whole new person. And I talked to other people about it, people I know, some people started it, family members and things. And I like it. I love it. So if you have any questions, if you want to start the blood type diet for your blood type, if you want to learn what your blood type is, I have links in the description for you to access my blood type starter kit. And it doesn't matter what blood type you are. I have a starter kit for each blood type. And just click on it and you'll be able to download it. And then you'll be able to get links to all the things that is going to help you get on your path to health. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode today. I'm so happy that I actually started this podcast because it's been a journey. And I'm excited to upload more podcast episodes for you so that we can get this dialogue started about blood type and about holistic living, because blood type is not just about diet. And I'm going to leave it at that. So I'm excited to talk to you again in my next episode. I hope you have a great week. Bye.